Now see, this video kind of qualifies as both an AliExpress video and not, because it was purchased on AliExpress. But it's also not one of my, what I would consider, my mainline AliExpress Temu series videos. This is like a spin-off episode, I suppose. So I feel like people would still yell at me if I don't put this guy back here, as previously promised. So there he is. Anyways, Pikachu knife, deploy. We are looking at, once again, the fake Pokemon cards from Eif Baby. If you're unaware, we looked at these once before, but it wasn't the same ones. Don't worry, this is a unique video. It's Eif Baby is like a common, translation of Pokemon that you see all the time in fake Pokemon products. Well, a long time ago, quite a while ago, I got a booster box of these Eif Baby instead of Eif Baby, for some reason, Pokemon cards, and they were in one of my AliExpress videos. I thought they were genuinely really cool for being bootlegs. And I came to learn, when I did some research into it during editing and all of that they were actually very popular. And not only that, some companies are not only grading these cards, they're grading companies who will grade these Eif Baby bootleg cards. These are not official in any regard. I should make that clear now. These are unofficial cards that, yes, while they do have unique artwork that does seem to be made specifically for them, there's also artwork that is taken straight from the Pokemon Company / Game Freak. And yeah, again, it's a cheap Chinese bootleg product, and yes, trying to pop out this booster box display is about as painful as you would expect from a bootleg. Yeah, I already tore it. You know, whenever you order pizza and they don't actually cut it all the way through, it's like that with that perforation. But there it is. So they've actually done multiple releases since that first release, which I would have expected that to be the only release. But again, it was so popular that they have made the decision to make a bunch of new releases. I believe this being the second one. So we have our pack right here. They do seem to all be, yeah, it's all the same pack with our Iron Valiant there on the front. Which, to be fair, fantastic choice going with Iron Valiant. I like how there's a recommended retail price on this. That's what that says right there. It's really hard to read. I had to take it off camera to make that out. Maybe I could do some translations of that and that text splash right there and that. But yes, if you are new to the channel, a favorite thing on this channel is taking a look at bootleg products, and I kind of been sleeping on these, I won't lie. So again, the cards themselves, at least in the first series that we saw, were fantastic. Even the backs. Look at the back of this card. That is so well done. But let's flip it around. And okay, we have our Quaxley right there off the bat. Very shrunken in artwork here. So I'm going to be trying to do my best. I'm going to be throwing some notes on screen as I go. I'm not going to be checking every single card, but as many as I can, to see if I can't figure out, is this official artwork that they took from the Pokemon Company? Maybe they're actually stealing from an artist, but in the first series I didn't find any evidence a single time of them stealing from, an indie artist. Most of the time, if they were taking someone else's artwork, it was straight from the Pokemon Company. Which again, in my opinion, art theft is theft. Theft is theft, that simple as. At the same time, if you're gonna steal art from anywhere, yeah, taking it from the largest media franchise on the planet, I'm a lot more okay with it. So, kind of fitting that we have our Quaxley line kind of back to back here. And I think that's the last card. Okay, so it's 3 per pack in these. And yeah, they actually have different backings. There is some work that goes into these things. Anyways, dig into our next pack. I probably should have noted, I'll go ahead and show you on this next one. These are very thick cards. These are not like Pokemon cards. So, okay, we have the Mew, and that's actually straight from a card, is it not? I'm fairly certain that Mew is taken straight from a Pokemon card. We have Zinna. A lot of these are looking like a lot more just straight up art theft this go around. And we have the Houndstone on the little Game Boy. You haven't really pointing that out. This is a old school tube television going on here. You have your dials, a cheap little speaker on there. But yeah, this is meant to be a Game Boy design, so you have your unlabeled buttons and D-pad. I like it. It's pretty cool. I've always liked this idea. Of course, we see it all of the time, not just in bootlegs, but in artist renditions as well, putting Pokemon into gaming devices. But yeah, what I wanted to point out was how thick these cards are. this is like almost like a press board. Like it's not quite, you know, a card's thickness. Anyways, next up, yeah, what I would actually like to see out of these, unironically, again, the whole idea of theft is theft. Some people are kind of fought me on that. They're like, oh, they're stealing from the Pokemon Company. Who cares? Like, yeah, to me, like that's the least harm that they could possibly do. It does open up lawsuits, but they're also a Chinese-based company here. Good luck suing them. We have Serena, or I always want to say Serana because of my my favorite, but we have Serena, and we have the Meryl again on a little game player. And next, we have Crocolore, one of the best boys. I think this is also straight from my card. Like, I think a lot of these, they're just taken straight from the TCG stuff. That's pretty disappointing. And we have a little Varoom here. Like, the effects and stuff that they're doing on these are really good, but, like, compared to some of the stuff that we saw from the original release, like, it's just kinda disappointing. We have Hawlucha, again, I want to say that's straight from a card. Oh, it's something big back there on this one. Cyrus, upside down for some reason. I know that one's directly stolen from my boss's orders card. And then we have, okay, come on, they're even... Oh, this is so disappointing. They're even stealing straight from the Squawkabilly EX card. Or was this originally a V? I think this was a V card originally, right? Maybe I'm stupid. Maybe this is an EX. I don't remember. I want to say this is on a V card. Like, that is so disappointing. Like, compared to some of the things we saw the first go-around. I remember even getting comments on that YouTube video telling me, like, hey, the second release is out. Like, it's actually really cool, too. No, like, at least so far, we have the Shroomish. Like, what I enjoyed the most was, okay, that's actually really cool, but this right here, that's sort of like reusing assets from a box design, if I'm not mistaken. From, like, it's almost looks like a photo of a box, and this would, like, be the window of the cards inside, and instead they put Electrode there. I'll try and find a source for that as well. They also have the Hisuian form down here, for some reason. Why do we have regular Electrode and Hisuian Electrode? That's weird. Okay, then we have Banana Tree. Hello, Banana Tree. Okay, I just tore apart my house trying to find my original Eif Baby cards, and I honestly don't know where they are. I don't keep up with my bootleg stuff nearly as well as I do my actual, you know, cards and all that. So I just want to, like, play a little clip here of, like, my reaction to seeing some of those in that original video. Okay, that's adorable. Okay, come on. Okay, you're selling me on these. Slowpoke, like in the claw machine. Oh, these are actually, like, well done. And the Politoed. Like, I really don't hate these. I'm sure that there's stolen artwork here, but, like, I don't recognize it. Like, a lot of this artwork, some of it is pretty obvious, like, that is just Zoroark. They just, like, took that from official Pokemon, but some of these, like, more cutesy ones, I feel like these were actually, like, you know, potentially someone actually, like, made these, not necessarily stolen from an artist. God knows what clip I chose to play there, but hopefully you guys can kind of understand, like, what I mean by, you know, the actual, like, and then, look, the same design, but now with Mew on the inside. I think, is that the same Mew we saw earlier? I don't remember. But, like, I want to say it's like a Mimikyu box, right? Because the arm's going up. Again, you guys will have already seen it if I found anything on it. We have Faulkner on the TV, and we have Lucario. Honestly, can I tell you, I want to say this is also just stolen straight from a card. I have always been a fan of the idea of Pokemon doing basically this, right? Doing you know, releases of cards that are just the artwork. Like, you know, not like a bunch of, like, all of the attacks and the HP and all of that on the card. Just giving us, like, versions of the card that's, like, the full art card. And it'd be like a separate release, right? Well, yeah, I actually used this on a thumbnail at one point in time. And I guess you're kind of getting that here, right? This is like a purely collectible version of a lot of those card arts. But it's done kind of jank. Okay, the Garbodor actually fits into that really well. Okay, that one actually fits in that cutout pretty good. Oh, okay, we have the Ice Ferret right here. I know it's a Sabertooth, I call it a ferret, shut up. All we have is Ferret, okay? Let me have a legendary too. Okay, we have Pommy. I love little Pommy. Again, that has, again, look, you can even see, like, the hollow reflections from where they're, like, scanning the card for the art. Granted, like, it's a high-quality scan. Like, this is like a colored pencil, if I had to guess, I'm not, like, an artist. Like, a color pencil sketch right here for that card. And, like, it's a high-quality scan, but this is done of a hollow card, so you have, like, the rainbow hollow reflection going across it. Like, this is so disappointing. We have Professor Turo, and yeah, Squawkabilly again. Like, it's interesting seeing, like, some of the designs that they're doing for, like, around the card and stuff like that, but I'm not seeing anything unique so far, which is just so boring. Again, something in this could have been unique, it's just really not seeming like it. We have Turo again, and we have the Toad Scroll. Like, don't get me wrong, these are still kind of neat for bootleg cards, right? It's a neat little display thing. I can understand why somebody would want to collect these, especially right now, with the Pokemon market being still just absurd. We have the Indeedee. I pulled that card way too many times. I know that's straight from a card. The Pokemon market being as terrible as it is, I can see somebody being like, hey, this is a cheap thing, it's a fun thing, and you are still getting official artwork in this case, I suppose. Okay, that flamingo right there, even with that white outline going around it, I want to say that's taken straight from, like, the back of a box, right? Like, Flamingo had a box, right? And I'm pretty sure they had that exactly where they stole it from was one of, like, the EX or V boxes. God, I'm a nerd. We have the Faulkner, and, again, we have the Lucario. Like, they're even stealing the Evolves From portrait that goes in the top left corner of most cards. And, like, that's probably just straight up taken from this original Lucario card. Just that, you know, Evolves From Riolu right here. Man. Now, to my knowledge, they've done other releases. I think, like, they've done, like, little, like, side releases and stuff. But I want to say that they're at least on, like, the main set, like, 3 or 4 at this point. I believe, again, I'll have info on screen if I can find any info. This is, like, the second release. And, maybe, you know, I should still check out the others if you guys want to see more on these. But, again, the first release of this was actually so neat, and at the time, I couldn't find any evidence of them stealing artwork from anybody but the Pokemon Company, and it seemed like they were actually hiring, you know, contracting an artist to make artwork for that first release. Then, I mean, what do you expect out of a company making bootlegs, right? What do you expect out of a company doing these bootlegs? They're going to cheap out, right? They hit the jackpot. Their fake cards blew up so much that grading companies are accepting them. Which, in my opinion, if I was running a grading company, no bootlegs would ever be accepted to be graded. That devalues, in my opinion, your entire company by grading fake cards. Like, that's absurd to me. And you could argue these are like an artist rendition, right? But let's be honest, that's not what it is. Brassius, then we have Bust. I actually like Brassius. I feel like they didn't do enough with him, at least to my memory. Maybe they did more with him than I remember, but I liked his design. It was pretty well done. I feel like nobody ever talks about him. We have the Flittle, Gardena, and Ampharos. Neat. But, like, I'm already just like, man, I'm done. Like, we're gonna open all of them, but so far I am not seeing anything unique to Eif Baby here. Like, this is just disappointing. Let me know in the comments, have you picked these up? Were you interested in them? Have you seen other videos on them? Because at the time with that first release, people were going wild on these things. Like, again, full-blown value, like, for these things. Like, you could pick these things up as singles on eBay, but I don't know about set 2. I don't know what the general response is to this. We have Idra right there. I kind of like the backing, right? We have, I forgot the name of the town from Legends Arceus. Pidgeot. But again, I had a couple people telling me, like, hey, like, you know, there's more sets that, you know, like, set 2 just released or whatever, and like, really? This is what you were excited about? Like, yeah, the designs and stuff are cool, right? I'll give you that. Like, I like, you know, like, they're theming things well. We have Iono on a TV, like, everything's colored, like, you know, there's not really a lot of blue ones to just pink here, but, like, the theming and stuff is done pretty well, but it's still just, like, cheap scans of cards. Just, restructured. I could do this. Like, I do a lot of Photoshop. Like, I do a lot of fake cards. They're parody cards. They're joke cards. But like, you know, I do similar things. All they really had to do is hire somebody to make this TV frame once, right? And then they just change the hue. They just hue shift it to, like, okay, well, let's make it blue for this guy. Let's make it pink for this one. Like, the exact same thing, they're just hue shifting it to a different color. And then they just installed a font package, and they type out their name. Actually, you know what would be hilarious? I have a Crite here. Let me look for another one of those right here. Okay, so they're actually not hue shifting it with that, so they're adding that after. So we have this little, like, color splotch here, the RGB, red, green, blue. But they're adding that after the original image is hue shifted. But it's literally the exact same TV, just twice over. So just to kind of prove a point, I decided I would go ahead and show you what I mean by this is simple image manipulation via Photoshop, not new things being created. Just like how they used a Mimikyu box to create the border of a card, well, we're going to use this Pikachu V-Box. First step is pretty simple. We just have to remove the insides, you know, all of the cards, the plastic cover, that entire shape there. After that, we gotta remove the Pokemon logo, the Pikachu V-Box logo, the Pokemon Center logo, and that little stamp in the top right corner. I'm not the best at doing some of these things. I kind of rely on some Gaussian blurs, then kind of patching things in to fill in the gaps. Color correction will also help cover it up more later. Now that it's cut out, we just need to grab my favorite boy, the Absol, take one of its cards, go ahead and throw it behind the image. Just like on these Eif Baby cards, they kind of have the Pokemon popping out of the box, so of course, we kind of erase that little ear horn on Absol's head, along with the top of its head to have it like popping out of the card here. Of course, there's a bunch of color corrections that have to be done, and yada yada, but here's the finalized product. Now, I am an amateur who just does Photoshop for fun and for thumbnails. And while I did rush this process a little bit, if you're wondering how long it took for me to make this, well, including looking for the images and all of that, it took me just shy of 30 minutes. However, more than half of that time was spent just making that template. Now, we have the template. So that means 10 to 15 minutes per card. You could be turning out 6 cards an hour. I could have an entire set of, well, instead of Eif Baby, we'll call it Junk Baby. I could have an entire set of Junk Baby cards good and ready to go in 2 to 3 days. Hop on Etsy, ask a couple artists to make me, 3 or 4 different card templates I could use, along with this Pikachu V1, which I got entirely for free. And I mean, you can have this rolling out in no time. And you're only really seeing 3 variants of cards in here. Maybe 4. I apologize, 5. I'll even rank them, what formats I think are the coolest. So we have format number 1. Stolen card art with generic border. That's the first version you can get. Then we have this, which is strip taken from a box art, like 100%. Like, hopefully I found a thing for it. But, the other variant, we're getting a bunch of that with that border around it. Again, very similar to this variant, but there are differences. Okay, I am just now realizing, as I'm getting to this part in the editing process, that all 3 cards that you see here on screen are all actually using Pokemon VEX box art. What tipped me off were the little crowns on the Crite card, which are using the same style as what they used in the Crown Zenith marketing. And if you look here at this shiny Zacian box, it lines up pretty 1-to-1. I did a lot of digging, and I could be wrong. It could be another one of the Crown Zenith boxes, but I am 99% certain this is the exact one that they used. And then for the bottom of the card, they had to do a little bit of filling in by hand. However, on that cloth card down there, this is another case of them using box art, but then they're hue shifting it to change the color to fit what they want it to be. We can also see it used on a Mew card where it's purple, and this cloth it's orange. So to find this box, it actually took me over an hour. I was actually begging my YouTube members in the members chat in the Discord for assistance in finding this, but it was actually my wife who ended up finding it after well over an hour of me searching. And here it is. It is the Zeraora VMAX and V-Star Battle Box. Of course, they mirrored the box in order to remove that Zeraora, so they could basically duplicated the left side. And once again, they are hue shifting it to match the color that they want. So out of the 5 types of card templates, 3 of them they got for free by just doing some Photoshops. Right, it is a different format. Then we have your EX pulls here, and you have your TV, and my favorite right here are the little gamified ones, little fake Game Boy things. But they're all the same format, same background, same, 5 templates that they made. It is 5 templates, and then they're stealing art and throwing it in behind it. I didn't think this was going to be a Seeker complains video. I do apologize. I should always note that I'm the kind of person that always looks for the negative in things first, and I tend to point out the negatives very heavily. And it's like I'm kind of bad about vocalizing the positives, right? Like, it's always a thing with me that I see the positives, I understand the positives, and there are things that I enjoy that are like things that I greatly enjoy that I'll come across in video as seeming like I hate them because I spend so long talking about the negatives. I do think you get these things for cheap, right? Especially for a kid, right? Pokemon cards are crazy expensive right now. Pick these things up for a kid, they'll be stoked, right? Like, it saves you money during this terrible market. Your kid still gets Pokemon cards. If you're not a kid, you're buying these things yourself, like, it's still neat. You're still getting a neat little art display. It's just, again, compared to what they had in the first release, it feels very cheap. It feels like, hey, we've made it. Let's release a set 2 as quickly as possible. Let's hire, like, contract out one artist to, like, make us a few templates, and then they made one themselves, right? Like, oh, we don't need to hire an artist. We can make a template is stealing, you know, a Pokemon box. Like, you know, let's hire, like, an artist to make a couple templates, scan some cards, and throw them out there. And there is a little bit of work that's being done. I won't deny that, right? Like, on cards like this, there's very little work being done. Same with this one right here. But like this pupa right here. They actually had to go in and erase the background, right? Or cut out the pupa, one or the other. And they could have used an AI to remove the background, right? But either way, this had to be put on a different layer. That way its head could actually be coming out of the border. So, like, it's not like there's no work being done here. But in my opinion, it's basic Photoshop work, not actual art, right? The art is coming from one contractor who made the borders, and then being stolen from the Pokemon Company. After that, it's Photoshop. And yes, you can say Photoshop is a form of art. Of course, you can make art in Photoshop, but I'm sure you understand. Image manipulation, right? What I do, image manipulation. I don't consider myself an artist. I'm sure that there are people who do image manipulation who do consider themselves to be artists. I don't. I am not creating anything new. I am taking things that already exist, and I am putting them into a new context, right? I am modifying something that already exists. I am not creating something new. I don't know. We're almost done, by the way. I think these things are still kind of neat. I think that they still have their place, and I apologize that this video was a lot of complaining. I was actually very excited for this one. I won't lie. Like, I was excited for this one, and I'm leaving it just a bit disappointed. So we have our Sprigatito. This is our last pack here. Professor Sada, and we have our Flamingo now on an EX card. Stack of cards. Bigger stack of cards. Bigger stack of cards. Booster box with really weak glue so it doesn't hold together. Well, that was today's video. I don't know, when it comes to stuff like this, it's always like, you can't win, right? It's you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. I'm gonna get some people that watch this, and now they might not, because now I'm talking about it. But in these kind of videos, it's always some people saying, I didn't go hard enough, I should have burned these on camera, they are that trash. And then I'm gonna have other people that are saying like, hey, you complained too much. Those were actually really cool. Like, there's no winning. I think the most fair criticism I could get on this video is that I complain a lot. And yes, that is correct. Anyways, it's now time. I kind of refilled it too early. It is now time for the bonus card of the day. Yeah, that was a pretty good slide. Explanation right down there in that corner. As always, you're pulling a random card from the back and playing Guess the Year. We have a Mimikyu sleeve right here from 2024. All this is from a Fate set. I'm dumb, I should have noticed the sparkles. Flip it around, no price or anything. So looking for any signs of damage. Not really seeing any. I'm going to do a very lame guess here. The sleeve is from 2024, the card's in great condition, so it's likely to be from a modern year, so we'll go 2024. We have, what do you know, 2024, and, yep, from the same set. We have the Shiny Pomo. I kind of mentioned earlier, I love the entire Pommy line, so, I mean, of course I would pick up the Shiny Pomo. Why would I not pick up the Shiny Pomo? This guy got so much crap. Does the community still hate the Pommy line? Like, I remember, like, whenever I first saw it, I was like, this guy is adorable, he's going in my team. And people were like, I saw reactions online that were the complete opposite. They're like, oh wow, the new Pikachu of this generation is lame. Like, I like him. He's a cute little guy. He's a happy little fella. And this is coming from someone whose favorite Pokemon is Absol, alright? I like my Edge, too. Anyways, we're gonna save green screen man some effort, and we're just gonna do the outro live. So, if you guys enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, all of that fun stuff. A massive shout out to my YouTube channel members. Pokey Hoarder J, Obsidian, Smokey of the Sun, Andrew B, Bod, Reed, KDL21, Lana C, Kiss of Ember, Air, Sucker Punch, Lycan, Carr, Reese, Billy Wilma, Obsidian Panther, Ineffable, Under Mosquita, Christy Blackwell, Lime Kiwi, Crispy Demon Duck, Cold Drip Gaming, Aquarina369, Wanda Bread, Spallar Vertigo, Shadowfama15, Thomas Mancini Brewster, Shea Blancet, Ugor, Steve Bell 6, Bloopy Amari, Mez Awesomes, Evie in Space, Chance D, Diabells, That Souls Girl, Psycho Panda, Borisu, Flamehead, My Little Gaming, Joseph Long, The Terminator 624, Misha, Ryan McKenzie, Emma, Wounds Do, Tactical, Plum Wild, Mimi, Catfrog1, Dylan F, and Nation Harris. If you guys want to check out some more content, well, up here, I'm going to have a playlist of all of my Pokemon videos if you feel like binging. Down here, I'm actually going to go ahead and link the AliExpress video where I did my original Eif Baby cards, which I assume if after watching this you might be interested. And in this corner is going to be a link to the community Discord if you feel like joining in. Thank you guys very much for watching, and hopefully I will see all of you next time. Goodbye for now.